I think we're warm now, huh?
We're warm.
We're warm now.
We are warm.
Mr. Joe Pacheco, 82 years old, sans chair. Woo!
Okay, Joe.
The reason I'm here is that last Monday at Cornelia Street Cafe with David Amram, who's also 82 years old, I got up and read the poem I read every Labor Day with and perform with his quartet. In this case, David Amram is also 82, and David Amram had made this movie with his own money of Charlie Parker called Bird. So that Monday, everything came together for those of us who are fortunate enough to be born in 1930 and are still alive. And the events depicted in this poem occurred in 1955 in Greenwich Village. I'm used to having a music stand, so you'll have to forgive me. The night Charlie Parker played tenor at Montmartre Cafe in Greenwich Village, like I knew when it was happening, that 50 years after, I could still tell you about it, and you still really wouldn't believe me. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I wander into Montmartre, looking for Tom and Rod so that we can go over to the White Horse, play chess, and drink off and off. The half stout, half lager, house special they serve that's 10 times stronger than the watered down rot gut they are serving here in Montmartre. Because the place is back and being run by the local dons who can't run anything strictly legit, even when they're trying to cash in on the bohemian craze and the success of the coffee houses like Rienzi's and Pandora's Box and the jazz places like Vanguard, who pack in tourists every night coming to look at us locals dressed like bums with our long hair, jeans and sandals, our uniforms of art and protest, nursing the cappuccino or the stein of beer while we carry on our business of bullshitting each other up and down the Kierkegaard, Sartre, and Zen Buddhist block. Rienzi's, Pandora's, and the Van are making money like no one was supposed to, including Tom's place, which is the Café Figaro. But the guys running the Montmartre don't like the locals because they dress sloppy, can nurse a drink all night, and try to smoke joints disguised as cigarettes, which they call bombers. So they stopped letting the locals sit at tables. Institute, would you believe, a dress code? And now, every night, there are fewer tourists to stare at the handful of better dressed locals who have bothered to try to make it past Rufino, the bouncer maitre d' at the door, who is also my childhood buddy, and who tells me it's slower than Ernie Lombardi tonight. But something's happening with the jazz guys in the front. Tom and Rod wave at me, bursting with excitement like kids watching the neighbor's wife in dress with the shade up. And I know it's not a chess move, but something real cool and unusual coming down. Tom points to the musicians, a jazz quartet Montmartre hired on the cheap, and they're moving an extra chair onto the stand, and the tenor sax player is handing his horn and strap to a fat guy in a rumpled suit who looks just like and is Charlie Parker, Yardbird, here at Montmartre, and he's going to blow tenor, not alto. He warms up for a minute with runs and arpeggios that any sax player would die for. But as a former tenorman, I can tell his tone is no threat to bias or the hawk, and he will thin the tenor into an alto with his first blow. The other musicians wait in reverence, as if they're standing before St. Peter, waiting to be admitted to heaven. The leader and the bird nod at each other, and off they fly into ornithology, with the bird trying to teach everyone just how high the moon was, is, and will ever be, and how high he is now.
No gossip.
He zigs and zags through ins and outs of chords and quantum leaps of invention. He follows a two-note mop-mop with a 500 notes a minute run lasting what almost seems all of jazz eternity, leaving us breathless from listening, segueing back to the melody and to the other musicians who have been happy just to listen, keep the beat, and play the chords, but now with encouraging nods from birds. They try their own tentative solos, which get more confident as they go along, for now they can tell everybody, agents, other musicians, their children and their children's children 50 years after, just like I'm doing now, that they played with Charlie Parker.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Keep it up.
Bird grabs the tenor again, and the room burst into one great haze of waitresses pushing drinks, tourists not knowing just where they're at or what they're listening to, management and stoned locals wondering what's the big deal with this fatso, and when can we close up? But Tom and Rod and I and just a few others, inhaling and savoring this hippus of puffy, fat, black, dying junkie miracle, glowing and blowing at the center of the haze like Orpheus unbound. No, as we gazed at each other in the coolest of surmises, that we are living in a moment like no other in jazz and human history, and which most of you won't believe even 50 years after. Charlie Parker playing the borrowed tenor sax for free in Montmartre Cafe in Greenwich Village a few weeks before he died.
We believe you.
Okay, everyone. I am going to dedicate. I have a poem for Miguel Algarin, who also writes poems. And the beginning of my first book, the first of the New Yorkers, began with a poem. And now tonight, officially, I'm dedicating this poem to Miguel. The first of the New Yorkers. In my family, I was the first of the New Yorkers, the first to be born in this land of mucho opportunity, the first to impress Americanos with his English and embarrass his family with his Espanol, to be named Joseph and not Jose, to be ashamed and proud of his family, to be cursed and blessed with the blessing and curse of being a first. Yes, the first that straddled the two cultures, stepping uneasily in both, never fully and yet very much belonging, the only one of my kind in so many places, alone in two worlds at the same time. Those of us who are New Yorkers know this feeling. Thank you. Another New Yorker poem, How I Became a Poet. I guess you're all wondering, right? How any of us became poets. Well, they took my dried umbilical cord and pressed it between 2 pages of a book of poetry by Luis Muñoz Rivera. As my parents told me, they wanted to save the first lost part of me in a collection of Muñoz Rivera's speeches and essays so that I could become a great statesman like he had been. But that book could not be found in New York City, and so they settled for poetry. Now gringos, wipe away that snicker. And let me tell you that in 1972, I became principal of Public School 83 in East Harlem. And guess what the name of the school was? Luis Muñoz Rivera. The first school in New York City to be named for a Puerto Rican. How's that for postnatal genetic engineering and long-range career planning, Puerto Rican style? Americano? Okay.